So, welcome to each and every one of you from whichever part of the universe you are at right now in this current state. Welcome to Mind Architecture's Another Point of View. And today it's a really interesting topic. And another point of view, again, is from the seat of a therapist, where we try to share as many things that we learn to you. So the most important thing about knowledge, the value really is in sharing it. So we've put together a really interesting framework today called the social quotient. As we know, intelligence now is measured in so many different quotients. I think there are about 8 of them. But relative to the modern place and what we do, we focus on really just about 4, which is your AQ, your adversity quotient, your EQ, your emotional quotient, your IQ, which is your intelligent quotient, and of course, your SQ, which is your social quotient. And the reason your social quotient is so important is because we live in a very different world. The world that we grew up in no longer exists today. And this world also is very wide and varied and diverse. So our social quotient is so very important, and it's one that we're going to take the opportunity to really build upon. And our theme today is mastering the psychology of group chats. We're going to focus particularly on group chats today because we've had so many great conversations this month about it that I thought it was important to really put together some sort of framework. So this is your visual, a phone screen glowing in darkness, notification, bubbles appear one by one, faster and faster. The sounds of pings and notification becomes overwhelming, then suddenly silence. So you go to staring at your phone because you've opened it. So let's start today by painting you a picture. It's around 10:47 p.m. You're exhausted. You've just gotten into bed, and then ping, ping, ping. You know that notification sound that you often get? And your phone lights up. It's one of your group chats. The one with college friends, the one with your extended family, the one from work. Take your pick of the many group chats that you are in and make a count today, because I think it's important to do some sort of assessment. And when your screen splits, it shows multiple group chat notifications. I'm going to use the word flooding in. And someone has shared a meme. Someone else has asked a question that requires a thoughtful response. Someone has posted a political opinion that makes your blood pressure spike. And someone, because we know there's always that someone, has sent a voice note that's 6 minutes long. And you have a choice. Do you engage? Do you ignore? Do you silently leave the conversation and pretend you never saw it? So here's what's fascinating. That little moment, that momentum, that surge of energy, or maybe hesitation, that split-second decision about how to show up in a group chat is actually revealing something profound about who you are, how you relate to others, and what psychologists call your social quotient. So welcome to Another Point of View. And today, Mind Architecture, we're going to explore one of the most overlooked yet powerful dimensions of modern life, which is the psychology of group chats, because it is so accessible to you. So we're talking about those digital ecosystems that most of us belong to, sometimes dozens of them at a time, where friendships are maintained, conflicts erupt, alliances form, and communities are built. We're going to uncover the hidden roles people play, the behavior that strengthens or sabotages these spaces, and most importantly, how to use positive psychology to transform your group chat. And that experience will go from a source of stress into a source of genuine connection and growth. Because here's the truth. Group chats aren't just a convenience. They're a miniature ecosystem. They're a miniature social ecosystem that now becomes part of our socialization process. And how you navigate them says something about how you can build that skill set of your social quotient. So we all know about the IQ. We spoke about the intelligence quotient, the measure of your cognitive abilities. We've all heard about the EQ, the emotional quotient, your ability to understand and manage emotions. But this third quotient is equally important and perhaps even more relevant now in our hyper-connected digital world. Social quotient, or SQ, the measure of your ability to build and maintain networks of people over time. It's your capacity to effectively navigate social situations, understand others' emotions, and build meaningful connections. It goes beyond mere social skills. It's about turning awareness into effective, what we call social action or even inaction. But here's what makes ESQ so fascinating. Research shows that groups with members who are better at reading social and emotional cues achieve better outcomes. In fact, a group's collective intelligence is related to social and communication skills, not to the average individual intelligence of its members. And I think it's important to say that, not to the average individual intelligence of its members. So think about that. You can be the smartest person in the room or in the group chat, but if you can't read the room, if you can't sense emotional currents, if you can't navigate the unspoken dynamics, you are going to struggle. And nowhere is this more visible than in our group chats. From a psychological perspective, group chats mirror many of the same dynamics found in in-person groups: leadership, emotional regulation, conflict, and cooperation, but with fewer social cues and fewer breaks. That combination creates a unique environment where personality doesn't just express itself, it amplifies. This is why often there's a feel like there's a different version of themselves online. We feel like we're different online. And this comes back to us being our authentic selves through the line, or as we say, keeping it real. Digital contexts reward certain behaviors that don't always translate as clearly offline. So let's ask the question: who are you in your group chats? Over time, patterns emerge in every group chat. Certain people take charge, others hype, derail, soothe, or quietly observe. There are many in group chats who you would never hear from, and they've been in our group chats for years. Think about those persons. Do not call their names. These aren't random behaviors. They reflect deeper psychological tendencies. I want to introduce you to the group chat personality spectrum because I thought this was really interesting learning this week. The roles people naturally assume in digital conversations. So identify them, but do not call names. But first we have the ringleader. This is a person who starts conversations, makes plans, pushes decisions forward. He's a high initiative member and they tend to become the informal leaders even if no one explicitly appoints them. They're the ones who ask, what's everyone doing this weekend? Or has anyone seen this? Or let's start our World Cup group. And they keep the group alive, so we recognize you. Second is the organizer, the ringleader's partner in crime. When we know them, this person takes the ideas and turns them into action. They are the ones who create the polls, coordinate logistics, and make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Without them, the group chat would be all talk and no follow through. And we've seen those memes. When we make it out of the group chat, well, the organizer is the one who really facilitates that. And third, there's the mediator, the emotional regulator. These individuals share feelings, validate them, and shape the tone and safety of the group. And psychological safety is important, not just in our work teams and our families, but even in our online lives. They're the ones who notice when someone's been quiet and send us that private message to check in because we know in the group, some of us actually chat online, or we work out together, or we have kids in the same class. So the mediator de-escalates tension and creates a space for everyone to be heard. So we love you, mediator. And fourth, this is comically called the lurker, the one most misunderstood in his role in a digital space, because he doesn't really talk a whole lot, or she doesn't talk a whole lot, because this is gender neutral. The lurker reads everything, reacts sparingly, and rarely initiates. From the outside, they may seem disengaged, but here's the truth. Lurkers are the silent majority of every successful digital community. They keep engagement metrics up, they influence decisions through private direct messages, they act as hidden bridges between subgroups. The lurker isn't passive, they are strategically observant. They are processing, learning, and often quietly shaping the group's direction sometimes. And of course, number 5, the fifth, we know because we've all assumed that role at some point in time, the disruptor. And this is the wild card, the person who introduces novelty, chaos, humor, or conflict, because we know conflict often drives our group, and that's just the nature of this digital ecosystem. Disruption isn't inherently negative. It can boost engagement and creativity, but it also increases volatility. A high initiative disruptor with low emotional engagement can keep a group lively or perpetually on edge. And the sixth person we've observed is what we now tag the hyper poster, the person who sends 12 messages in a row, the one who replies to every single thread. They are deeply engaged, but sometimes to the point of overwhelming others. And it's important for us to be able to have greater self-awareness, because self-awareness leads to self-regulation. And even though that enthusiasm may be genuine, please be able to see from the other side, from another point of view, that it can also be exhausting. And the seventh is really the socially detached. The person is present but not really present. They're in the group, but they really ever contribute anything meaningfully, not to be slighted against them. They might be overwhelmed by the volume of messages, they might feel like they don't belong, or they might simply have too many groups to keep up with. And all 7 rules, they're all engaged and connected by invisible lines of influence. So here's the most important part of this. You're not just one of these rules. We all contain multitudes depending on the group, the context, and our energy levels. We might be a ringleader in one chat and a lurker in another. I have one of my best friends that I grew up with. He is so very quiet on one, but the other, he's the first person to say good morning. And with 2 friends, their roles are very similar, even though they are very different on one group. And it's amazing to be able to look at that. So remember, the goal isn't to label yourself. The goal is to recognize these patterns, because in psychology, we don't necessarily say you are lame, but you may engage in lame behaviors over a lengthy period of time, and we say stop being lame. So you can navigate group dynamics with greater awareness and intention, and I'm just going to call them over so that you can recollect. The ringleader, the organizer, the mediator, the lurker, the disruptor, the hyper poster, the socially detached. We are all part of each other, and we all belong in this ecosystem. So let's talk a little bit in shifting it today and get to the root of so much feedback when conflict erupts and how to manage it, because I think this is really important as well. Here's the thing about group chats. They are fertile ground for both bonding and conflict. The same features that allow people to feel close quickly also, misunderstandings, tend to spiral greatly, potentially faster than they would offline. Without facial expressions, or tone of voice, people often exaggerate warmth, humor, or provocation as well, just to be understood. Emojis, memes, and sarcasm become emotional substitutes. One study, and I think this is interesting, found that aggressive group norms significantly influence young adults' conformity behavior within WhatsApp chats. Social norms and related conformity shape how people respond to cyber-aggressive behavior. In other words, if the group tolerates hostility, hostility tends to spread. So this awareness for us is so great to share. So what can you do when conflict erupts? So a few steps, which is what we often refer to as you guys continue to subscribe. And the most important thing that we ask now is for you to really continue to subscribe to Mind Architecture so we can share this information so much. And the tools that we give, not everyone is able or willing to get to a counselor or to a therapist or have a whole lot of sessions, maybe because of their mental framework, the logistics with their family, or even budget. So our whole goal is to share a lot of what we teach, to each and everyone who needs to receive it. So our toolkit today is going to start like this. And it's really each tool labeled with a conflict resolution strategy. So first of all, acknowledge emotions up front. So use phrases like, "This seems frustrating to you," to validate, but without agreeing. This instantly lowers defensive barriers. You're not taking sides, you're simply acknowledging that someone is feeling something. So it's simply when you come to a therapist, the therapist might say, let's validate these emotions. The second is practice mindful listening. And this is some way we all need to continue to grow. It's continuous growth. In text-based environments, this means reading carefully before responding. It means asking clarifying questions instead of assuming intent. It means pausing before you hit send. The third label is label the emotion, not the person, as we spoke before. The emotion is very different from the person. So instead of saying, "You're being aggressive, try," this conversation feels as if it is getting even more heated. Instead of "You're wrong, try," "I see it differently. I have a different point of view." The goal is to address the behavior and not attack the person. And so many times we've all been guilty of crossing that line. So this is why this learning is so very important. Label the emotion, not the person. And number 4, take it offline when necessary. Some conversations are too complex, too sensitive, or too nuanced for text. So if a conflict is escalating, suggest moving to a phone call or an in-person conversation. Digital communication is efficient, but it's not always as effective for deep emotional work. So it's really important. So number 5, use emotion regulation techniques. And that's really simple because research shows that interventions focused on calming members down, increasing group morale, and practicing empathy can significantly reduce conflict in online groups. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about managing them so they don't manage you. And here's a psychological insight that might surprise you. Complaints can bond groups together, but only if they lead to resolution. Psychologists called mindless, repetitive groups complaining without resolution co-rumination. And it's been shown to amplify burnout rather than relieve it. And at this point, what I'll throw in is that what we found is that sometimes people fear to exit certain groups, but in life, sometimes when you hold on to something in the past, it kind of keeps you from moving forward. And it comes a time where the reason the group was formed is very different now because life is very different. And the best case scenario may be to exit the group. And we're not saying that for all conflicts, but we're just sharing. It's also a thought process in terms of detachment. So if your group chat has become a venting session without solutions, it's time to shift the dynamic. Group chats are neither inherently good nor inherently bad. They're tools. And like any tool, their impact depends on how we use them. On the positive side, group texting has shown to be positively associated with emotional well-being and life satisfaction. Social and emotional connectivity is one of the most powerful weapons against stress, loneliness, and depression. The social support received in online group promotes a sense of well-being and is associated with positive relationships and personal growth. Group chats can be lifelines, they can be sources of daily affirmation, they can be the thing that gets you through a difficult day, they can maintain friendships that would have faded in the past, they keep us connected across geographical gaps. But on the negative side, online connections can both support and undermine well-being. Kind and hurtful sentiments can coexist in the same space, and they must. Social empathy can be offset by judgment and angst. Social pressures may be beneficial for accomplishing goals, but also harmful. So group chats can also amplify what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. Digital exhaustion has a sharper edge than its offline counterpart. There's no more guessing if you're being left out. You can see it happening in real time. So FOMO is a concept that has become more real. It affects us greatly where there is this fear of missing out. So the question isn't whether group chats are good or bad. The question is, are you using them intentionally or are they influencing and using you? So it's an important question to ask. So let's get practical here. Here's your positive psychology toolkit for transforming your group chat experience. Just a few. The online, first of all, practice confirmation bias, but in reverse. Confirmation bias is our tendency to look for evidence that confirms what we already believe. In group chats, this can trap us in echo chambers. Flip it. Actively look for perspectives that challenge you. Seek out the voice that disagrees, not to argue, but to understand. This is how group chats become learning environments instead of validation machines. And number 2, cultivate an attitude of gratitude publicly. In your group chats, make it a practice to call out what you appreciate. I appreciate you. Thank someone for their insight. Acknowledge such a good contribution. Celebrate another's win. Gratitude is contagious. When your model of appreciation increases, others follow. Your group chat becomes a space where people feel seen. Practice digital mindfulness. So before you respond to a message, especially a heated one, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What do I actually want to communicate? Mindfulness isn't just for meditation cushions. It's for the moment your thumb hovers over that send button. Hit pause. And also, engage in acts of digital kindness. Send a private message to someone who's been quiet. Offer encouragement to someone who has shared something vulnerable, because that chat has become their safe space. And that's the way that you really show your kindness to them and your support. So remember, small act of kindness in group chats creates ripples of goodwill that transform the entire ecosystem. Nurture positive relationships beyond the chat. So yes, try to make it out of the group chat. Also, savor positive exchanges. When someone says something that resonates with you, don't just scroll past. Feel it. Let it land. Maybe even screenshot it and save it. Savoring positive experiences, even digital ones, amplifies their impact on your well-being. And also, set some meaningful group goals where possible. What do you want your group chat to be? A space for support, a space for health and wellness and exercise, a space for accountability, a space for laughter. It's important to know and understand the intentions of your group. So, it was so great being able to share today so much of what you have shared with us and what we've learned. So what we know is that group chats are almost like the new town squares. They're where we gather, share, argue, laugh, and connect. They're not going anywhere. So the question isn't whether to participate, it's really how. And remember that your social quotient, your ability to navigate these digital social ecosystems isn't fixed, it's trainable. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice. Every conflict is a chance to grow. Every moment of connection is a reminder of what makes us human. So the next time your phone lights up with a group chat notification, If you want to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, who do I want to be in this space? How can I contribute to making this group healthier, kinder, and more connected? Feel free to pause before you do so, because the most powerful thing you can do in any group chat, the thing that really demonstrates high social potent, isn't being the loudest or the funniest or the smartest. It's being the person who makes others feel safe, seen, and valued. And that's the new social intelligence. That symbol is how we operate in group chats, but it's how much good you bring to the ones that really matter. So thank you for being a part of Mind Architecture's Another Point of View with Andre Williams. If this episode resonated with you, share it. Share it in your group chats. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Please subscribe to the channel. There's going to be so much more great information from great people in our group to come. And next time you see, just be sure to continue to explore what it truly means to be alive and connected and meaningful. And as always, from another point of view, see you in our next frame. Be well, be positive, be great. We are where psychology, leadership, emotional intelligence, resilience, and human performance come together to help people thrive today in today's changing world. Great leadership is not about being the most powerful person in the room. It's about empowering others to become powerful too. And we will see you in the next episode of Another Point of View by Mind Architecture. Be well.